Welcome to Break the Needle. I'm your host, Adam Zivo, and I'm here to guide you through Canada's problems with drugs, addiction, and crime. We're going to take a look at the battle over supervised consumption sites today. These sites, which allow addicts to use drugs under medical supervision, have proliferated throughout Canada since the mid 2010s and have become a lightning rod for controversy. Now, supporters claim that they are essential services that save lives, while opponents argue that they are nothing more than glorified drug dens that bring violence and lawlessness to surrounding communities. Last year, the Ford government passed a law banning supervised consumption sites from operating within 200 meters of childcare facilities such as schools and kindergartens. In response, one site operating in Toronto's Kensington Market neighborhood sued the province and managed to secure an injunction against closure this spring. Joining us here today is Derek Finkle, a Toronto based investigative journalist who has written several exposés around these sites. Thank you for joining us, Derek.
Good to see you on.
Now, Derek, from my understanding, you bring a lot of firsthand knowledge to this debate as you live near a community health center where one of these sites operated until very recently.
Yes, I moved into the neighborhood of Leslieville, which is on the east side of downtown Toronto. Approximately, well, I've lived in the neighborhood for about 25 years, but I moved onto a street called Heward, which is across. I live literally across the street from a local community health center called the South Riverdale Community Health Center. And in 2017, late 2017, they decided to take on one of these injection sites. And so I lived through what it was like in the neighborhood before the injection site, what it was like in the beginning of the injection site. And I would say after a year or two, myself and quite a few of my neighbors, both residential and business owners, started to become quite frustrated with what was going on around it. And generally speaking, we were ignored, which was frustrating. And things didn't really change until, unfortunately, a woman in our neighborhood was shot to death by some drug dealers who were engaged with a theft. Essentially, two drug dealers were trying to rob a third drug dealer, and gunfire was exchanged, and one of our neighbors was shot. And so things went, for me personally, from being a prolonged frustrating situation, in that how could a community health center allow what was essentially a very long standing drug den to exist on its perimeter, to fury, really, that because we weren't listened to, tragedy occurred.
Now, when you say that this was irritating and this was an open drug den, can you give us more specifics? So, what kind of public disorder did you witness in your neighborhood?
Well, it actually got to the point where we actually had to conduct our own Google Forms. We had our neighborhood, gather, collection of what the incidents were outside the site, and just before the shooting, in about 3.5 weeks, we gathered almost 150 separate incidents, many of them backed up with photography. The biggest one was open drug use. There were assaults. There was lewd behavior. There was a lot of discarded needles, drug dealers, violence and intimidation that comes with drug dealers. Those were the main concerns.
Okay, and then from my understanding, the person who killed that young mother
Yes.
received assistance from one of the harm reduction workers at this site, which further amplified the scandal around this whole ordeal.
Right. There was a lot of advocacy that went into the establishment of these sites. And so after the shooting, which was essentially made national headlines, um, there were a lot of the same advocates who took the position that there was no relationship between the shooting or the tragedy and the injection site. And then a few weeks later, one of the shooters and the staff member from the injection site were both arrested, and the staff member, whose name is Khalila Muhammad, she was charged with being an accessory after the fact to murder and
Yeah,
obstruction of justice. Essentially,
that sounds horrific. We're going to talk about the provincial government's response to this incident and how they try to ban the sites near childcare centers. Right back after this break.